Hello, and welcome to a session to train you on the Innovators Robotics Team 3138 Scouting application. As you can see, the Scouting application is a web-based application that can work on any device capable of running HTML5. We typically use tablets to do scouting, but also you could scout with computers and a variety of other devices as well. This year's scouting application that has been developed in-house by the Innovators Robotics has changed names. We call it this year the FIRES scouting system. FIRES stands for First Innovators Robotics Electronic Strategic Scouting System. So the key element there is strategic. In prior years, we have seen a variety of teams use scouting primarily for pick list at the end. What we found out several years back was being able to capture information in a manner that we can use that information during match play to help us build strategies on how to win during qualification rounds. So what you'll see is there's a number of things here specifically to help us guide for how to make strategic decisions. So for starters, there's a login screen. At the given match, you will be given a username and password. I am just going to enter in as a guest. We have the guest access available to do training. You're welcome to log into the application to train all you want on the guest access. So the URL is innovators3138.org/fires, FIRES. You can see that in the title bar of the URL here. So when I go in as the guest access, I'm given a menu option, and since we're talking primarily just about scouting in this particular training event, we're going to go into just the scouting application. So the first thing the application will do is, based on who you've logged in as, I've logged in as the test, so the only regional that's available to me is the test regional. When you log in as the various teams as you're using this, you will see the other regionals that you have signed up for and that you will be participating in. So I click on the test event. So the first thing you're going to see here is across the top is the match, the current match that you'll be scouting. So as scouters swap in and out, you may have to adjust these matches up and down. And how you do that is you just click on the arrows, and on a tablet you would just press the arrow with your finger or a pen, whatever kind of tablet you might have. So you would just navigate to whatever match you're currently running, and you can see here the teams are listed. We've preloaded which teams go on which matches. So a good sanity check is to verify that which match you're on and look down on the field to determine, yes, in fact, those are the teams participating in the match, because that'll tell you you're on the right match or not. The next thing you want to do is you want to actually change the scouter. We want to just log who the scouter is, and the only reason for this is if we have a question or if the scouter has a problem, we know in the database we're logging who the scouter is, so if we have questions we can find that person and ask questions if we need to. So you just select the change scouter, and on a tablet you'll probably see a on-screen keyboard come up. I'm just going to put in my initials here. It doesn't really matter what you put in, and then you're going to select the checkbox. If in fact you have a tablet, the enter key will not actually log it in. You do have to select that checkbox to enter that in. You can see now that the scouter doesn't say change scouter anymore. It has actually my initials for my scouting. So we do scouting a little differently this year, only because of the way that the game runs. Since the game is very singular as far as offense, instead of tracking a specific team and having 6 scouters like we've done in the past, what we're doing is we're actually tracking the red ball and tracking the blue ball. And every time a team touches or does something to the ball, we're going to log that event. So for instance, if a human player pulls the ball off a pedestal, we're going to log that that player pulled it off the pedestal. The next thing that that player will do is run around to the load-in zone and pass the ball in, so we're going to log the event of passing. Now, a couple of things that are important is we need to understand the possessions of the ball because we want to understand how the flow of the game is happening. Additionally, the events, what we're doing is we're actually timing between events. So we know how long a pedestal pull to pass is, how long a pass takes, how long an assist takes, how long it takes a team to line up a shot. Because what we found this year, or at least what's key to us this year, is to understand the timing of how the game flows. Because with the timing, we can understand how best to strategically build our offense. So if we have a specific team that maybe takes a huge amount of time during an assist, we might decide that we'll play a 2-assist game as opposed to a 3-assist game because we can get more cycles in that way and the points actually end up to be higher that way. If we were to use 3 assists, yes, we would get more per cycle, but we would get a lot less cycles in because that team was extending the cycle time. So it's really important to try to log things as quickly as you can. And the other thing is we correlate information across the scouters as well. So you can see here we track the red ball offense and the blue ball offense, but then there's also a third button that's track everything else. And what that really means is we're tracking things like breakdowns, we're tracking fouls, and we're tracking actual defense. And the interesting thing is in tracking defense, because we know what time everything happens and which teams are actually defending one another, we can correlate that defense against the offense that's happening, which leads us to some really interesting statistics, like we can look at assist time, both defended and undefended, to see if defense actually plays into how long it takes to do an assist. So there's some really interesting things we can do with the statistics to help us with our strategies once again. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into tracking the red ball offense. So I would be a scouter and I'm actually watching the red ball traverse through its process during the course of a match. So I'm logging into match 3. That's the one highlighted. These are the teams I'm going to be following, and I'm going to be actually following the red ball. So when I click on track the red ball, what it's going to first do is, this is sort of the lobby before the match starts. So what I can do here is I can preload which humans are at which zones. So you're going to have a human probably in the alliance station zone because that's the person that's pulling the ball off the pedestal and running it around and introducing it to the field. And then you have other locations where humans can be as well. So the top and the bottom locations are as if you're looking at the field. The top is the far away location. The bottom is the close location for the human players. I'm just going to select, just sort of select randomly here. So Team 292 is in the alliance station. Team 525 has put a human player on the faraway zone, and the Team 648 has actually put one on the close human zone. To actually start the match, you just select Start Match. When you start that match, what it's going to do is it's going to show a depiction of the field, and what you do is, I'm in autonomous right now, and there's a position right there where this team shot in the high goal during autonomous. Now it's quickly in the process of me explaining this, it's already switched to teleop mode, so under normal circumstances you wouldn't have the interaction. So you can just click on a spot. So teleop has started at this point. The first thing that's going to happen at the beginning of the cycle is there's going to be a pedestal selection. There's going to be the team running around to the top zone. You're going to select the team, and they're going to pass the ball in on the floor. The next thing that's going to happen is maybe a robot, the same team, is going to possess the ball, and they're going to possess it inside their robot. So your choices are inside and outside. Inside is we've picked the ball up and somehow we're cradling it or holding it inside the boundaries of the robot. outside the robot is they're just pushing it around. They have control, but they're just pushing it around. Now, another option you do see here, so I'm going to pass this ball up to the next player. So from this spot right here, the 292 robot is going to pass it on the floor up to this robot, 525. Now you can see here there's a touch event and a possess event. Under normal circumstances, what we're seeing is most of the robots can immediately pick the ball up. What the touch event is for is if the robot seems to take a little bit of time to actually pick the ball up, so you would want to do a touch event first, and then maybe they had to chase it around a little bit, and then you would do the possess inside the robot or outside the robot. What that will give us will be the time that it takes to actually control the ball. So from the point that it touches the robot to the point that it actually possesses the robot, you only would need to use that if it seems to be that the robot is taking a long time to pick up the ball. Under normal circumstances, you probably would just possess the ball, because most robots, like I said, are able to possess the ball pretty quickly, so putting the touch event is just too many strokes. So the next thing that may happen from this zone is this robot may throw it over the truss. So I select the robot, throw the truss, and I have some choices here. Was it a success over the truss? Did it fail, or did it go out of bounds? I'm just going to say it's a success. So the ball's going to come out here, and let's just say that it's going to So at this point, a robot, it may catch the ball. So the ball's coming down, it's the third robot, and they are going to catch. Once again, we have a choice of success or fail. We would make an assumption that if a robot is lined up to catch the ball and it bounces out, they failed to catch. I'm going to just say that they succeeded in catching. So the next thing that this robot may do is it may drive up to this next zone. So I'm just going to pick a position that they drove over here, and there's a drive event right here. Now, the reason why it's important to put those drive events in is because we're trying to count the assists. And if we don't ever position that robot in that zone, we're not going to be able to count that possession in that zone. Therefore, there won't be an assist. So anytime a robot changes zones, you want to do a drive event. If it's driving from zone to zone, do a drive event because it's actually possessed it in both zones. So the next thing that may happen is this robot might shoot it in the high goal. Maybe they missed it in the high goal. If they missed it, the ball is still active, the cycle is still going. As soon as they shoot high and it actually makes it, what you'll see is the screen will clear and the cycle will be complete, ready to start the next cycle, which would automatically you'd start as a pedestal, pass, and so on and so forth. At the end of the match, you're going to select the End Match button, and that's going to log all the data into the database that's our server. So the other type of, I'm going to back up to match 3 again. The other type of activities that you're going to be doing is this tracking everything else. And just to kind of show you what's happening here, when you track everything else, obviously you're not selecting any human players here because it's all robot-robot interaction. And you start the match along with everybody else. And when you start the match, you just start positioning where things happen. So for instance, I'm still in autonomous here. As soon as we switch to teleop, so in teleop, let's say we have a robot that starts defending another robot. So I have a robot right here, and this blue robot is defending number 292. And there's different kinds of defenses that you can play, and basically there's pass, receive, and redirect. And what that means is, am I defending the passer of an assist? Am I defending the receiver of an assist? Or did I redirect the ball while it's in transition? So maybe one robot passed it on the floor, and I've driven up and bumped the ball away from the receiving robot. I've redirected the pass. So we're just trying to get a feel for what kind of defense is being played. So let's say I'm defending the passer at this point. So the other thing that can happen is maybe a robot broke down. So when I select this, and maybe it's 6:48, this says foul right now. We're that'll be changed by actually scouting time. So, but that's really breakdown. And we have some different kinds of breakdowns here. Bumpers fell off. There's parts that fell off. A partial breakdown is the robot was kind of working, but it doesn't seem like it's working all the way. Like maybe it can drive, but it can't pick up the ball anymore, or maybe it can pick up the ball, but it can't shoot it. We also have breakdowns like never moved. The robot's out there and it never moved. Intermittent breakdowns, it sometimes works and then it shuts down, and then it sometimes works and it shuts down. Tip over and collision, if it does a particularly hard collision and then stops working, we want to understand. This helps us really gauge how durable the robot is. So I'm just going to say that maybe the bumper fell off in this case. The other thing that we can do here is we can do fouls. So maybe this team right here fouled, and we have different kinds of fouls. We have a general foul, a general technical foul, and then a couple of other things that we found were really important, like maybe possessing the other ball, because there's some ramifications to possessing the other ball. The whole idea here is we're trying to collect the defense to find out, can they defend without fouling? Just like with the scouting of the offense, we have the ability, or at the end of the match, you'll select the end match, and that'll log all those events into the database. So this has been a very basic training of just how the system works. We will do more hands-on training, but this is to kind of give you a first pass on how the application works. Like I said, feel free to log in. And once again, the URL is innovators3138.org/fires. And then you can log in as the guest access. Feel free to play around as much as you want. Right now, we have things set up for about the first 15 matches. So go ahead and use anything that's any of the matches from 1 to 15. We'll be chatting at the in person when we actually get to the regional, or we'll be having a one-on-one session for Q&A. Thank you.